the fire of transformation. What would your life look like if you lived every single moment as if greatness wasn't just possible, but inevitable? If you woke each morning with the conviction that your best self wasn't hiding somewhere in the distance, but already waiting inside you, impatient for you to rise? Imagine walking through this world not as the man you've been, but as the man you were born to be. No permission slips, no waiting for approval, no hesitation, just certainty, purpose, power. Here's the truth most will never tell you. You do not need anyone's validation to evolve. You were manufactured for greatness. The design is already coded within you. The question is not whether you were made to rise. The question is whether you will activate what was built inside you. Every tool, every gift, every fragment of strength you'll ever need, it's already there, dormant, waiting. But if you don't move, if you don't train, if you don't sharpen your mind into a weapon, that potential will rot inside you. And here's the harsh reality. Potential ignored becomes poison. Your best self will never stumble into your life by accident. He is forged. He is sculpted. He is built under pressure. He doesn't appear when the spotlight hits. He appears in the silence, in the grind, in the repetition of unseen hours. Every man who ever walked this earth with power began with the same raw material you carry right now, thought. Because thought is the seed of destiny. You are the master gardener of your mind. But if you fill your garden with weeds, fear, doubt, distraction, don't be surprised when your harvest is emptiness. You cannot plant chaos and expect peace. You cannot sow hesitation and expect dominance. Understand this. You are not a victim of your mind. You are its commander. You are the general of an inner army. Discipline, focus, consistency. And if you refuse to lead them, they will turn against you. Stop waiting for conditions to be perfect. The man who waits for perfect conditions never begins. He dies with ideas still inside him. If you're waiting to feel ready, you're already late. Transformation does not belong to the confident. It belongs to the decided. The man who moves while afraid, who builds in the dark, who trains when no one claps. That man becomes unstoppable, not because he's gifted, but because he's relentless. Not because he's talented, but because he's trained his soul to move forward. No matter what, transformation begins the second you say, I will no longer tolerate average. The moment you stop making peace with laziness, the moment you stop negotiating with your excuses, that's the birth of power. Draw a line in the sand and tell yourself, no more delay. No more hesitation. No more smallness. From this day forward, I move with purpose. Your life will always reflect your dominant thoughts. If your mind is a mirror of fear, your results will echo fear. If your inner voice chants failure, your world will multiply failure. But if you train your inner world to expect discipline, to expect strength, to expect greatness, everything external will begin to obey that command. Because the world does not respond to your wishes, it responds to your expectations. And expectations are not built by emotion, they're built by repetition. What you rehearse in silence, the world will eventually recognize in volume. So I ask you, what are you rehearsing? Are you practicing confidence, or are you practicing doubt? Are you training for victory, or are you preparing to excuse your mediocrity once more? You don't rise to the level of your dreams. You rise to the level of your standards. And if your standards are low, your life will echo that weakness. But the moment you raise your standards, the moment you say, I refuse to accept anything that doesn't align with my highest self, everything begins to shift. People will whisper, you've changed. They'll be right. Because growth is change, strength is change, excellence is change. Your job is not to make others comfortable with your transformation. Your job is to become so focused, so disciplined, so driven, that their opinions fade into irrelevance. The opinions of others can't build your life. Only your choices can. So stop trading your potential for popularity. You weren't born to blend in. You were born to break patterns, and breaking patterns hurts. It means shedding an identity that once protected you. It means burying your comfort and resurrecting your conviction. It means outgrowing conversations, habits, and sometimes even people. Your old self cannot enter your new destiny. He must die. You must bury him without apology, because your destiny cannot coexist with your excuses. Transformation demands discipline. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you can become. Discipline is showing up when quitting feels justified. Discipline is honoring your word when no one is watching. Discipline is choosing repetition over recognition. The man who keeps promises to himself becomes dangerous because he learns that nothing can stop him but him, and that is where true confidence is born. Confidence isn't noise. It isn't bravado. It isn't arrogance. It's certainty. It's the quiet knowing that you've built yourself in the dark, that you've earned your posture through unseen effort. When you've trained in silence, the world's noise can't shake you. When you've built your foundation through sacrifice, no storm can move you. You don't need validation when you're anchored in identity. You move different. You speak different. You live different. And yet, here's what most people will never tell you. Transformation isn't glamorous. It's not fire and applause. It's repetition. It's isolation. It's waking up when it's still dark and doing the same thing again and again until your soul adapts to the rhythm of excellence. It's not sexy. It's sacred. The man who honors the grind wakes up one day and realizes he's become unrecognizable. Not because the world applauded, but because he outlasted his weakness. You must stop negotiating with your lower self. Stop arguing for your limitations. Stop giving your emotions command over your mission. You are not your moods. You are not your fears. You are the master of both. Until you take that throne, you'll always serve your circumstances. Transformation is a war, and the battlefield is the mind. The enemy is doubt. The weapon is decision. The victory is identity. You must fight that war daily. You must reaffirm your standard every sunrise. You must reject the narrative that says, "This is just who I am." No. Who you are is who you decide to be, over and over again, until it becomes permanent. And when it sticks, you become magnetic. You start attracting people, opportunities, and outcomes that match the man you've built. It's not that life becomes easier. It's that you become stronger, more focused, more deliberate, more unshakable. When life throws its punches, you don't flinch. Because you've trained for this. You've visualized this. You've already lived it in your mind. You don't get your best life by chance. You build it by design. And design is not passive. Design is deliberate. Design is a blueprint powered by discipline and purpose. The man who designs his life doesn't wake up hoping. He wakes up building. He doesn't wait for motivation. He moves on conviction. He doesn't chase comfort. He creates clarity. And clarity, my brother, is what unlocks transformation. Without clarity, you drift. Without clarity, you repeat. Without clarity, you sabotage. But with clarity, you dominate. You move with precision. You decide with strength. You eliminate distraction. You operate from alignment, because clarity is a weapon, and confusion is the enemy that dulls your blade. So if you want to transform, start with clarity. Be clear on who you are. Be clear on what you value. Be clear on what you must destroy and what you must protect. Then move like it. Walk like it. Speak like it. Don't stop when it's difficult. Don't stop when you're exhausted. Don't stop when no one acknowledges your grind. Transformation doesn't reward convenience. It rewards conviction. And conviction doesn't whisper, it roars. The fire of transformation is not a single event. It is a lifelong campaign. Every day the battle restarts. The weak man searches for comfort. The warrior searches for conquest. The weak man asks, "How long must I do this?" The warrior declares, "As long as it takes." This is the sacred difference between those who fade and those who rise. The ones who fade were motivated by emotion. The ones who rise were forged by decision. You see, emotion is a wave, temporary, unstable, always shifting. Decision is a mountain, immovable, grounded, eternal. When your life is built upon decision, storms lose their power. But most men have never decided who they truly are. They drift between identities like wind through empty streets. They wear ambition in public and weakness in private. You can't conquer the world if you haven't conquered your reflection. You can't command life if you still negotiate with your fear. So stand before the mirror, not to fix your hair, but to face your truth. Ask yourself the question most men avoid: who am I when the noise stops? If you strip away the distractions, the excuses, the image, what remains? Because that man, that essence, is the foundation of your future. You can build nothing lasting upon deceit. You can build nothing eternal upon weakness. You can only build power upon truth. And truth, my brother, is earned through pain. Pain is not your enemy. It's your sculptor. Every hardship, every rejection, every moment of failure, it's carving the shape of who you are becoming. But only if you let it. Pain can either polish you or poison you. The difference lies in your perspective. You can curse the storm, or you can learn to command the wind. You can run from the fire, or you can step into it and let it forge your soul into iron. This is the essence of transformation, not avoiding difficulty, but extracting destiny from it. When you stop fearing struggle, you become unstoppable. Because then the world has no leverage over you. They can take your comfort, your applause, your certainty, but not your will. And willpower is the one resource that multiplies the more you use it. Your will is the muscle of the soul. Every time you act in alignment with your higher self, that muscle grows stronger. Every time you bow to weakness, it atrophies. So choose your reps wisely. Life will test you over and over again, not to destroy you, but to reveal what you've built. It will place you in rooms of temptation, silence, and uncertainty, and whisper, "Do you still believe?" Your answer must not be verbal, it must be visible. Belief isn't proven by words, it's proven by persistence. You can talk about discipline all day, but only your actions confirm your allegiance. Every choice you make either declares war on your weakness or peace with it. You are the architect of your character. Every moment is a brick. Every thought is mortar. Every habit is a wall. And someday, when the structure of your life is complete, you will either stand in a fortress or a prison. That is the silent judgment of time. Time doesn't care about excuses. Time rewards builders and buries talkers. So build. Even when you don't see results, build. Even when no one believes in you, build. Even when you doubt yourself, build. Because faith isn't waiting for proof, it's building despite the absence of it. Faith is not a feeling. Faith is a command. It's the roar of the soul that says, "I move forward, even blind." Every man of greatness has walked through the valley of doubt and chosen to keep walking. That's what separates history makers from history watchers. Most people want the crown, but not the weight that comes with it. They crave titles but avoid transformation. But you must be different. You must become the kind of man who can carry fire without burning himself, who can stand in the storm and still move with precision, who can walk alone and still radiate certainty. The warrior of purpose is never alone, even in solitude, because his mission walks beside him. He doesn't need followers. He needs alignment. When you live in alignment with your highest calling, solitude becomes sanctuary. Noise fades, chaos dissolves, and every step becomes sacred. You begin to realize that greatness isn't something you chase, it's something you remember. You were born with it, you just forgot. The world trained you to doubt it, so transformation is not about becoming something new. It's about returning to what you were always meant to be. The lion doesn't become brave. He remembers that he is the hunter. The eagle doesn't become majestic. He remembers he was born to soar. And you do not become powerful. You remember that power is your nature. But remembering requires silence. It requires stillness. It requires turning inward and facing everything you've avoided. That is why most never transform. It's not that they can't. It's that they won't sit with themselves long enough to meet who they truly are. If you dare to go within, you will awaken a force that bends reality itself. Because once your identity shifts, life must adjust to accommodate it. This is law. The outer world is a slave to your inner conviction. You think you're fighting circumstances, but you're really fighting the reflections of your own beliefs. If you change the belief, you change the battlefield. If you change the identity, you change the war. So stop trying to fix the outside. Rebuild the inside. Forge your mind in the image of victory. Every word you speak, every image you hold, every thought you repeat, these are blueprints for your future. Guard them like sacred scrolls. Never speak failure over your mission. Never confess limitation over your destiny. You are a creator, not a casualty. The universe moves in obedience to certainty. When you command with belief, the world rearranges itself. Not immediately, but inevitably, because the world respects persistence. And persistence is the language of power. You will lose battles, but you must never lose momentum. You will stumble, but you must never lose direction. You will doubt, but you must never lose decision. If you fall, rise faster. If you break, rebuild stronger. If you lose, learn deeper. Every scar becomes a sentence in the story of your becoming. There will come a moment, a quiet, sacred moment, when you realize you no longer chase transformation. Because you are transformation. It's not something you do, it's something you embody. At that point, everything changes. Your walk changes, your energy changes, your silence carries authority. Your presence becomes instruction. You no longer speak of discipline, you radiate it. You no longer chase respect, you command it without trying, because the world always bows to authenticity. When you live in full alignment with your divine design, you become a walking declaration of what's possible. And that's when your life stops being about success and becomes about significance, because transformation was never meant to end with you, it was meant to flow through you. The man who conquers himself becomes the blueprint for others to follow. His life becomes a message louder than his words. This is legacy. Not wealth, not fame, not applause, but impact. The echo of your strength in the lives of others. Legacy is not built when you arrive. It's built when you endure. So let the fire burn. Let it purify you. Let it test every part of who you are. For on the other side of that fire lies your rebirth. And when you emerge, scarred, refined, alive, you will finally understand you were never chasing transformation. You were chasing remembrance, the remembrance of what you were always meant to become, the remembrance of the warrior within you, the remembrance that power was never lost. It was simply waiting for you to remember your throne. So rise. Command your breath. Discipline your mind. Move as if destiny itself salutes you, because it does. It always has. You just had to remember who you are. The fire of transformation. True leadership begins where comfort ends. It is not a title. It is not a position. It is not the approval of others. Leadership is action, presence, and authority over oneself. If you cannot command your own mind, emotions, and habits, you will never command anything worthy in the external world. The true leader does not seek followers. He creates other leaders. He does not seek recognition. He builds examples that no one can ignore. He does not seek safety. He plants discipline and reaps power. If you desire legacy, start with yourself. Every decision, every choice, every sacrifice forms the foundation of what will remain long after you are gone. Most men believe that legacy is wealth or status. They fail to understand that true inheritance is identity. What you build internally echoes infinitely. What you shape in your soul transforms those who observe you, even silently. Therefore, your discipline must be unquestionable. Your clarity unwavering. Your vision impenetrable. A leader who hesitates is a leader who falls. A man who tolerates mediocrity in himself tolerates failures in the world. And a man who ignores his own standard will be ignored by destiny. Transformation is not merely personal. It is viral. The energy of a determined man reverberates through the world around him. Every act, every gesture, every word carries weight. Do not seek applause, seek alignment. Do not seek followers, seek coherence. Do not seek fame, seek mastery. The true battlefield lies within you. The enemy is not external. It is doubt. It is hesitation. It is confusion. It is the part of you that still believes in excuses, that still clings to comfort, that still hesitates in the face of action. You must confront that part every day. The warrior does not negotiate with weakness. He eliminates what does not serve him. He destroys habits that slow him down. He severs ties that weaken him. He abandons every trace of identity that keeps him small. Only when your interior is a clean field, fertile for greatness, will the exterior bow to your power. Every day is a battle. Every hour is a test. Every minute is an opportunity to forge identity. There will be no applause. There will be no immediate recognition. There will be no shortcuts. And it is precisely here that the true man separates from the rest. The common man needs motivation. The leader does not. He creates motivation. He sustains it. He rises even when the world does not applaud. He trains even when the body wants to quit. He chooses the difficult path repeatedly, not for glory, but for duty. Your standards are your army. Your values, your weapons. Your vision, your strategy. You must be so disciplined that discipline becomes your second nature. So focused that distraction has no entry. So clear that confusion dissolves in your presence. The man who commits in this way becomes unbreakable. Not because the world bows to him, but because he does not bow to the world. When you maintain inviolable standards, the world must adjust. When you move with intention, everything around you aligns. When you live in clarity, doors that were once locked open. But remember, clarity requires courage. The courage to abandon who you were. The courage to confront who you are. The courage to sacrifice for the man you will become. Leadership begins internally. You cannot command the external until you have total control of the internal. You cannot influence the world if you still sabotage yourself. You cannot create legacy if you are still bound by your own limitations. Therefore, master your time. Master your attention. Master your words. Master your actions. Be the standard you wish to see reflected. Be the force you wish to attract. Be the presence that no one can ignore. Legacy is not built on easy days. It is forged in adversity. It is shaped by invisible discipline. It is proven when no one is watching. Every step taken in silence, every difficult choice, every sacrifice kept from the world's eyes, it all adds up. And one day when you look back, you will see that you have built not just a life, but unshakable authority. You no longer speak of greatness, you radiate it. You no longer seek validation, you command it. You no longer wait for opportunities when you create them. Transformation completes the man. Discipline sustains his greatness. Purpose directs his path, and when the inner man governs, the external world bows. Because the universe always meets those who have decided to win. Not by chance, but by absolute conviction. You do not need to fight to prove you can be great. You must fight to become great, and in the process, everything around you aligns. You are the architect of the future. You are the commander of your own life. You are the warrior who forges legacy. And remember, legacy is not about you. It is about all those you inspire. It is about every soul that watches, learns, and rises because you stood firm. You are not building fame. You are building example. An example does not age. Example echoes. When you remain disciplined, focused, and true, even when no one sees, you become immortal. Not immortal in body, but in influence. Not in name, but in consequence. Not in glory, but in the transformation you ignite in others. And this, brother, is the true power of leadership. It is not dominating others. It is mastering yourself, and through that, elevating everything around you. When you become this force, life no longer moves against you. It moves with you. It responds to your presence. It honors your consistency. It respects your vision. Every act becomes sacred. Every word becomes command. Every step becomes legacy. The man who lives this way does not ask for permission. He takes ownership. He does not seek approval. He conquers. And along this path, you realize something crucial. The external world will never create your greatness. It only reflects the greatness you have already cultivated within. Therefore, invest in yourself. Build standards impossible to break. Maintain unshakable discipline. Move with absolute purpose. And never ever allow anything other than your own standard to dictate your destiny. The ascendancy of the warrior's path is never easy. It is not paved with comfort, indulgence, or fleeting applause. It is carved through fire, forged in adversity, and sharpened by relentless action. The man who rises to his ultimate self does so not by chance, but by uncompromising resolve. Every morning is a declaration. Every action, a battle. Every thought, a command. You are the commander of your own life. The battlefield is not the streets, the boardroom, or the arena. It is within, in the mind, the body, the spirit. Weakness lurks like a shadow, whispering excuses, distractions, and doubt. It says rest, wait, settle. The warrior does not listen. He moves while others linger. He fights while others falter. He builds while others squander. The man who conquers himself is unstoppable, because the world cannot topple the one who has already triumphed internally. Confidence is not born from praise. It is born from quiet victories unseen by the masses. It is the product of discipline, repetition, and unwavering focus. Your standards are your shield. Your purpose is your sword. Your clarity is the armor that no attack can penetrate. Every day, you face a choice: to rise or to fall, to lead or to follow, to act or to remain idle, to remain the man you were or to become the man you were always meant to be. There is no room for hesitation. Indecision is the death of potential. The warrior does not negotiate with fear. He moves through it, transforms it, and uses it as fuel. The world will test you. It will throw obstacles in your path. It will challenge your endurance, patience, and resolve. And it is in these moments, the cold, lonely, inconvenient moments, that your character is forged. The old self dies quietly in the background as the new self rises boldly in the forefront. Every comfort surrendered, every limitation shattered, every false identity stripped away. You are not seeking to impress. You are building an irrefutable presence, one that commands respect, attracts opportunity, and magnetizes influence. Your legacy begins not in grand gestures but in daily allegiance to your highest standard. It begins when your word to yourself is unbreakable. It begins when discipline becomes habit. It begins when you choose the hard path, consistently, without applause. The transformed man is not defined by what he possesses. He is defined by who he is, by the power he cultivates internally, by the clarity with which he navigates chaos, by the authority he wields over his own mind and spirit. Every act, every word, every decision becomes sacred. The energy you project shifts reality. The presence you maintain influences others. The identity you build resonates in the world long after your actions are done. You do not wait for opportunity. You create it. You do not wait for recognition. You command it through consistency. You do not hope for change. You become the change, and the world conforms. This is the warrior's truth. You are both the sculptor and the sculpture, the commander and the soldier, the storm and the calm. And when you reach this level, you realize life does not shape you. You shape life. The external world bends to the measure of your internal mastery. You are no longer a man chasing purpose. You are a man embodying purpose. No circumstance can sway you. No criticism can unsettle you. No failure can halt you. You rise before the world expects it. You act before others comprehend it. You build when the masses hesitate. And this is the secret of legacy. It is not in what others see. It is in what you do when no one watches. It is in the discipline upheld in solitude. It is in the decisions made when the easy path tempts. It is in the relentless pursuit of alignment with your highest self. The warrior's life is one of sacrifice, not of comfort, not of ease, not of temporary pleasure, but of unshakable identity, unrelenting purpose, and absolute mastery. And the reward is not fame. It is not fortune. It is the magnetic presence, the unassailable power, the legacy that echoes through time. When you embody this, you no longer react to the world. You command it. You define it. You become the standard by which others measure their own strength. The warrior does not apologize for his ascent. He does not negotiate with weakness. He does not waver. He is relentless. He is decisive. He is unstoppable. And once you claim this truth, that your transformation is not optional but obligatory, you no longer live for the approval of others. You live for the elevation of yourself, the impact on others, and the unfolding of your destiny. This is the ultimate ascension. The man who has mastered himself commands his life and leaves a legacy that cannot be ignored. You are that man. You always were. And now the world awaits the full force of your emergence.